allow the eyes to softly close and the muscles around the eyes to soften, the jaw to loosen. Feel the whole weight of your body resting on the chair, the feet on the floor, so that you feel grounded at the same time that your spine is gently lifted. Experience the whole body breathing in, the whole body breathing out. And allow the breath to find its own rhythm. As we spend the next few moments gathering our attention, resting it on the breath, calming the mind and body. It's natural for the mind to wander from time to time. If you become mindful that the mind has wandered, gently guide your attention back to the wave of the breath, moving in, moving out. But if you find that the mind is very busy, it can help to put one hand on the chest, one hand on your belly, and to receive the breath with your hands. And then when you're feeling more solid and steady, you can release your hands again. Last week we looked into the nature of a flower, seeing that a flower is made up of non-flower elements. So we'll begin with that practice again today, just briefly, calling to mind a flower. And see its color and form and shape. See it in its surroundings, whether it's in a garden, whether it's in a vase, whether you're holding it between your fingers. Focusing your awareness on the flower even more, looking deeply into the flower to see the elements that make up the flower. We can see the sunshine, the soil, minerals, organic matter. We can see insects and worms, creatures that fertilize the soil or pollinate the flower. You can see birds, animals who perhaps deposited the seed in the soil. You can see gardeners, rain. So if we took away any of these elements, if we took away the rain, the sun, this flower would not exist. Or if it did exist, it would exist in a different form. So we can see the interdependent nature of the flower. Thich Nhat Hanh would say the interbeing nature of the flower. The flower depends on many causes and conditions for its existence. It's not a separate self entity, not enduring, not permanent. We can let go of the image of the flower. Take a breath in, and take a breath out. And now we'll turn to observe this self, we might call it, that is aware in this moment, present and aware. And we can examine this self. Just taking a few moments on your own to see, where does this perception of a self come from? What does it feel like? How do you know you're here, present in this moment? As human beings, we seem to have inherited this perception that we are separate and that there's something that's enduring moment to moment to moment. And we call this I or me. There's something about this notion that helps us to operate in this world we find ourselves in. It helps us to preserve ourselves, to seek out food and shelter, other beings. And we find that because of that, it gives us something we have to defend, have to protect. But it's just a perception, and we can examine that perception. So we're going to look deeply now into the interbeing nature of ourselves, this self. One way of looking at that is the Buddha taught that there are 5 streams that make up a human being. And one is the stream of form, this physical body. So we'll take a few moments to look into this physical body. We can examine what makes up this body. Just like the flower, we are made up of non-body elements like minerals, water, food, air. If we took away any of these elements, the food, minerals, the water, this body would not be able to be here right now. Because we are dependent on food, we can go even further, reflecting on what the food is made of. just like with the flour, and where the food came from. Did it come from good soil? Did it come from good seeds, good water? Was it grown with care and intelligence? And how did it get to our table? The many hands involved, all the work involved in bringing that food to our table, including our own work, the people who employ us, or the other means that enabled you to be able to eat today and yesterday and the day before. And then there's another stream, which is sensations. As a human being, we are continually receiving input from the outside world and input from our own bodies in the form of sensations. There's a continuous stream, just like the physical body is continually changing depending on the different conditions. Our sensations are continually in flux. Taking a moment now to dip into the stream of sensations you're experiencing moment by moment. Sounds, sight, even if it's just sunlight coming through your eyelids. Tactile sense, the air on your skin, clothing on your skin. Internal sensations, the sensations of breathing, muscle pressing against skin. Sensations of hunger or thirst or fullness. Sensations of pain or comfort in the body. Continual stream of sensation. And then the next stream is the stream of perceptions. The brain interpreting the input. The brain converting this information into perceptions, mental perceptions. Of safety, of danger, of what to do and what not to do, of what to move toward and what to push away. And these perceptions might be correct or incorrect. Pausing to notice the stream of perceptions. Constantly shifting based on new input, new information. Based on changing surroundings. And then the next stream is the stream of mental formations, what we might call thoughts, ideas, memories. If we're lucky, there's a lull in the thoughts. But we can be sure that a thought will arise again at some point. So we have form, sensations, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Become aware of being conscious right now. Awake and aware. Consciousness is also a stream. To be conscious is to be conscious of something. And that something is changing, shifting. One moment you're conscious of a sound. The next moment you might be conscious of listening to the sound. Returning now just to the sensations of breathing, to see if anything has changed in how you perceive yourself. Are you constant and fixed, or are you a being in flux? Can you point to a moment when you came into existence? Or were there already elements of you pre-existing you? And later, will it ever be possible that all of these elements of you cease to exist? Read a brief passage. When the Buddha spoke of individuals, he often used a different term, stream. Imagine a stream flowing, constantly moving and changing, always different from one moment to the next. Most of us see ourselves as corks floating in a stream, persisting things moving along in the stream of time. But this is yet another frozen view. According to this view, everything in the stream changes, except the cork. While we generally admit to changes in our body, our mind, our thoughts, our feelings, our understandings, our beliefs, we still believe, I myself do not change. I am still me. I am an unchanging cork in an ever-changing stream. And this is precisely what we believe the self to be, something that doesn't change. The fact is, however, that there are no corks in the stream. There is only stream. What we conceptualize as cork is also stream. We are like music. Music, after all, is a type of stream. Music exists only in constant flow and flux and change. Once the movement stops, the music is no more. It exists not as a particular thing, but as a pure coming and going with no thing that comes and goes. Look at this carefully. If this is true, how a stream exists, how music exists, and how we exist, see how it is that when we insert the notion of I, we've posited some little solid entity that floats along, not as a stream, but like a cork in a stream. We see ourselves as solid corks, not as the actual stream that we are. If we are the stream, what is it that experiences the flux, the flow, and the change? The Buddha saw that there is no particular thing that is having an experience. There is experience, but no experiencer. There is perception, but no perceiver. There is consciousness, but no self that can be located or identified. We experience suffering because, not seeing the true nature of things, we long for something permanent, something that doesn't change, yet our actual experience provides nothing but change. Because of this basic confusion, we long for something we can get our hands on. We want to hold it, to cling to it. What we love, we want to last. What we hate, we want to get rid of forever. Because of change, however, what we hate can't be forever kept away, but returns. Because of change, what we love doesn't remain, but surely fades. If we'd only relax, we'd notice that because of change, what we love continues to appear, and what we hate never lasts forever. We'd also observe that there's no abiding self to be either pleased or damaged. This is what we have to see, that all is flux and movement and flow. It's because we believe that there's some static being in the midst of all of this, an imagined permanence that we call I, that we suffer.